start.
Thank you, Lasca Keogan. And Minister, you're very welcome again into the chamber today, and thank you for coming in so many times to listen to us senators while we scrutinise this legislation. So I rise today to express my deep concern about the direction this government is taking with the Defamation Amendment Bill 2024. This is not a reform bill, it is a retreat from fairness, from transparency and from the rights of ordinary people. Let's begin with the business community. ISME, which represents small and medium enterprises across the country, has called this bill bad law. They've warned that it fails to cap damages, fails to introduce a serious harm threshold and fails to protect retailers from speculative claims. They are not alone. Retailers, hoteliers and shopkeepers are all saying the same thing. This bill will not reduce litigation abuse, it will entrench it. Now let's talk about SLAPs, strategic lawsuits against public participation. These are lawsuits designed not to win but to silence, to punish people for speaking out, and they are happening here in Ireland. We've seen journalists dragged through the courts for reporting on corruption. We've seen whistleblowers threatened for exposing wrongdoing. And we've seen survivors of sexual abuse warned that if they speak publicly, they could be sued. This is not justice, this is intimidation. This bill introduces a weak test, manifesting unconfounded, and it doesn't go far enough. It doesn't reverse the burden of proof, it doesn't stay proceedings to prevent legal costs from piling up, and it doesn't empower courts to penalise abusive plaintiffs. The Ireland Anti-SLAPS Network and ISME have both called for stronger protections. Why are we ignoring them? Let me give you a hypothetical, but an all too real example. A woman is assaulted by a powerful man. She doesn't go to the Gardaí. She's afraid, ashamed and unsure she'll be believed. Years later, she speaks out online. She doesn't name him, but he sues her anyhow. Under this bill, unless she can prove the case is manifestly unfounded, she's dragged to the courts. She faces legal bills, public scrutiny and the very real possibility of financial ruin. That is the reality this bill fails to confront. And what of the jury? The Irish Council of Civil Liberties and Law Society and retired High Court Judge Bernard Barton have all warned against removing juries from defamation trials. Juries are not a relic. They are a safeguard. They are the people's voice in the courtroom. Removing them is not reform, it is regression. Now, I must raise a question that many are thinking, but few are willing to say out loud. Is there a conflict of interest at the heart of this bill? Minister O'Callaghan, you and Attorney General Rossa Fanning have both earned substantial sums from defamation litigation. Mr O'Callaghan, as senior counsel, has represented high-profile clients in major defamation cases.
I don't think that's appropriate.
But this is actual fact and true.
It may be, but I don't think it's appropriate to this debate.
But it is. This is to do with the defamation legislation. I'm sorry, but it is. Mr Fanning, before becoming Attorney General, was one of the country's most sought-after barristers.
I would ask you to be mindful of your language.
All right. I will. Thank you very much for pointing that out. Before becoming Attorney General, was one of the country's most sought-after barristers in commercial and defamation law. Now, while it is of course very normal for legislators to follow careers in law before entering politics, we must question the systemic problems that raises. Do we really believe that this bill, one that preserves high-value litigation while weakening public protections, was crafted with cool, disinterested objectivity by those who have profited most from the current system? Finally, I want to speak on a broader concern.
Senator, I'd ask you to withdraw that. You have absolutely no proof of what you're stating there. That's a scurrilous comment, and I'll ask you to withdraw it unless you have proof.
Sorry, what comment would you like to?
Yes, well, you can withdraw it unless you have proof.
Proof in relation to what comment?
In relation to the people, the architects of the bill.
Sorry, point of order, Chair. I think there's a clear inference there of a conflict of interest. I think it's unfair, and I don't think it behoves this House to introduce that type of argument or narrative here.
Well, there's a lot of members in this House that would come from the legal background. Indeed, many in the lower House as well.
It's not a crime to come from the legal background.
That would come from the law background as well, and many would have vested interest in this piece of legislation. So
I'm going to ask you to withdraw that.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for. I considered that withdrawal, and I'll come back to you.
Is it?
Finally, I want to speak on a broader concern: the erosion of free speech in this country. We've seen the government hesitate on hate speech laws, failing to provide clarity on what will or won't be criminalised. We've seen proposals to include a so-called kneecap provision in anti-terror legislation, a clause mirroring the very same one being used to persecute Irish artists in the UK, with language so vague it could be used to target half the country for their views. And now we see a defamation bill that fails to protect satire, fails to protect survivors, and fails to protect the public's right to speak.
You're over time, and you've gone on to different legislation. We're dealing with defamation, so I'll let one of your colleagues come in now.
Sorry, I might have gone over time.
You're gone on to the hate speech bill.
No, I'm actually talking about this particular bit.
Well,
it's defamation.
You're out of time. So,
well, if
Senator Conway.
you interrupted me, Chair. Yeah. Surely that time should be allocated back to me.
I'm nearly finished. I did afford you additional time, and now it's your colleague, Senator Conway's turn.
This is not the Ireland I want to live in. This is not the Ireland I want
to... Senator. Sorry, there's other senators in the House. So Senator Crowley is in before Senator
the comments were withdrawn.
Sir, can I think about...
No, you can't. You're out of time. I've indulged you long enough. I've given you plenty of time. Senator Crowley.